The first thing Olivia noticed was that Emma stopped humming. Her daughters were 5, identical enough that strangers mixed them up, different enough that she never understood how anyone could confuse them. Sophie moved through life loudly. Emma carried things inward. That morning, Sophie was at the kitchen table dipping strawberries into yogurt like it was a science experiment. Emma sat beside her with both hands wrapped around a cup of milk she hadn't touched. Olivia blamed herself before anything had even happened. She had needed the break, one night. Just one. A deadline at work, 2 weeks of barely sleeping, laundry colonizing the couch, and her mother-in-law insisting again that she was allowed to trust family. You look exhausted, Diane had said over the phone. You act like I raised criminals, so Olivia had dropped the girls off Saturday afternoon. By Sunday morning, she was already promising herself she wouldn't do it again for a while. Then Emma tugged her sleeve. Mommy, she whispered, not unusual, but then she glanced toward the hallway as if checking whether someone might hear. Grandma said I should never tell you what I saw. Something cold moved quietly through Olivia's chest. She crouched beside her. What did you see, sweetheart? Emma lowered her voice even further. Grandma was crying. Olivia waited. The little girl twisted the hem of her shirt. She woke me up because Sophie was sleeping. A pause. She took me downstairs. Downstairs where? The room with boxes. Diane's basement old storage. Family photographs. Holiday decorations nobody used anymore. Emma swallowed. She said she wanted to show me who people really are. Olivia felt her stomach tighten. What happened next? Emma frowned, struggling to arrange memories too heavy for her age. She showed me pictures of when you were little. Another pause. Then she said, sometimes mommies leave. Olivia stopped breathing for half a second. What do you mean? Emma's voice became almost apologetic. She said you used to leave Grandma alone too. Silence settled between them. She said. Emma hesitated. She said if you got tired of us one day, Grandma would still love me. The sentence was so adult in shape that Olivia almost didn't recognize it as something a child could carry. Then came the worst part. She said not to tell because it would hurt your feelings. Emma finally looked up. I didn't want to hurt you. Olivia had the strange sensation of standing outside herself. Not rage, something steadier, something older because none of this had arrived out of nowhere. There had always been comments, little ones. You're feeding them that? They cry more after spending time at your house. I just worry you're overwhelmed, always concerned, always deniable. After Olivia's divorce, Diane had developed a habit of telling stories about abandonment like cautionary fairy tales, never directly about Olivia, never direct enough to challenge. But secrecy? That was new, and somehow worse. She drove to Diane's house without music. The girls sat quietly in the back seat. Emma leaned against Sophie, unusually tired. Halfway there, Olivia almost turned around. Maybe Emma misunderstood. Maybe grief had come out strangely. Diane had been lonely since her husband passed. Maybe this was old sadness dressed badly. Then she remembered the whisper. Grandma said I should never tell you. No 5-year-olds don't invent secrecy. Diane answered the door, already smiling. You forgot, can we talk? The smile shifted. Inside, Olivia kept her voice calm. Emma told me about last night. Diane's expression tightened barely. Oh, for heaven's sake, she said softly. Children misunderstand everything. Emma had gone quiet near the couch, not hiding, just shrinking. Olivia noticed it immediately. The way her daughter avoided eye contact, the way she held onto Olivia's sleeve, a detail impossible to ignore once seen. She said you told her not to tell me things. Diane crossed her arms. I was comforting her. She asked questions. At midnight, that child couldn't sleep. And telling her I might leave her was comforting? Diane looked genuinely offended. I never said that. Olivia believed she probably hadn't said it exactly. That wasn't Diane's way, she implied, suggested. Placed fears gently into people's hands and called it honesty. You may not realize how this landed, Olivia said carefully, but asking a child to keep secrets from her parent is not okay. Oh, please, Diane replied, bitterness slipping through now. You're making me sound dangerous. Olivia surprised herself because she didn't argue, didn't yell, didn't defend herself. She simply said, I called a child counselor on the drive here. That changed the room. The sentence sat there quietly, concrete. The counselor said secrecy involving emotional conversations with young kids is serious, especially if it creates fear around a parent. Diane looked away first. I was trying to help, she said finally, though she sounded less certain now. I know you probably think that, and Olivia meant it, which somehow hurt more. She gathered the girls. At the door, she stopped. For now, she said gently. Visits won't be overnight. Diane looked stunned. You can't be serious. I am. No triumph, no speech, just consequence. That night, Emma crawled into Olivia's bed. Are you mad at Grandma? Olivia brushed hair from her face. I think Grandma made a mistake. Are you going to leave me? There it was, the thing Diane had placed inside her. Olivia felt something crack quietly. No, she said, then, after a moment. And if anyone ever tells you to keep secrets that make your tummy feel funny, you can always tell me. Emma nodded against her shoulder. Weeks later, sleep slowly returned. The girls laughed normally again. Family dinners became careful, uncomfortable. Deanne remained polite but distant. No apology ever came, maybe none would, but Olivia stopped mistaking peace for safety, and somehow that changed everything, quietly, without celebration.